Breaking news tonight, Sean Diddy Combs has been arrested in a Manhattan hotel this evening after a grand jury indicted the music mogul. His attorney tells CNN that he is currently being processed. The charges are unclear as
all of these big dick deviants is all catching hell in 2024. It's up for all of them. It don't matter if you Diddy or whoever you is.
All right, hold on tight, because this story is about to get wild. You might think you've heard it all when it comes to celebrity drama, but Wendy Williams just dropped some serious bombshells that go beyond anything we've seen before. In a shocking twist, Wendy is now accusing Steve Harvey of some really disturbing behavior. And get this, she's claiming he even tried to bring her into the infamous world of Diddy's secret parties. But here's the kicker. Wendy said no. She said she wanted no part of it, and she's now alleging that what she knows could make Steve look even worse than Diddy. So what really happened here?
I have information that he was arrested tonight at a Manhattan hotel. He is currently being processed. I heard from his attorney they are still maintaining his innocence. They said that in anticipation of these charges that Diddy relocated to New York last week.
First things first, let's take a look at Wendy Williams' recent explosive claims about Steve Harvey. Now, you might remember Wendy as the queen of spilling tea on some of the biggest names in Hollywood. Over the years, she's built a reputation for never holding back, calling out celebrities left and right. But this time, she's really going all in on Steve, someone who she's butted heads with before, but not quite like this. Wendy claims that Steve tried to cross a line with her, and it's not the first time he's been caught up in some controversial headlines. According to Wendy, this new revelation only scratches the surface of what's really been going on behind closed doors. She's pulling back the curtain on a world that most of us will never see, a world that involves powerful figures and some very questionable actions.
If you're just joining us here, was just arrested and taken into federal custody in New York tonight. Sources tell TMZ Homeland Security swooped into a Midtown hotel late Monday where Diddy was staying, and they arrested him.
Wendy isn't just making these claims out of nowhere. She's had her fair share of run-ins with Steve Harvey, and things have never exactly been friendly between them. Their rivalry goes back years, and anyone who's followed Wendy knows she's always had a few choice words for Steve. She's even hinted before that there was more to their animosity than just petty Hollywood drama. Now, it seems like Wendy is ready to lay it all on the table, and she's saying Steve isn't as squeaky clean as he might seem. She's painting a picture of someone who not only tried to pull her into his world, but also tried to intimidate her when she wouldn't play along. It's a lot to take in, and it's clear Wendy wants the world to know just what she's been dealing with.
That's my initial reaction, because that's how I always feel when I see situations like this. And then there's this weird sense of grief, because it is Diddy, right? Diddy is a hip-hop hero. He's an ordinary person who did extraordinary things. To sit here and act like the man wasn't a huge part of our upbringing is a damn lie. So there's this weird sense of grief. Like another one of our heroes has ruined their legacy, and it's their own fault because of poor choices?
So let's get into the nitty-gritty of Wendy's latest claims. According to her, Steve tried to get her to join him at one of Diddy's parties, those legendary gatherings that everyone in Hollywood has heard about, but very few have actually seen. Now, these aren't just any parties. Rumors have swirled for years about what goes down at these events, with some saying that they're unlike anything you could imagine. Wendy, however, wasn't having it. She refused, plain and simple. But what's interesting is why Wendy turned him down. It's not just about the parties themselves. It's about what they represent and the people who attend them. Wendy's made it pretty clear that she wants nothing to do with that scene, and now she's sharing why.
You know, hip hop wearing skirts, or hip hop being closeted and having a plethora of kids to prove manhood, that, you know, and denial of something that...
Let's rewind for a second and look at Diddy's infamous parties. For years, people have whispered about what goes down behind those closed doors. We're talking about gatherings that have a reputation for being a little too wild, even by Hollywood standards. You might have heard of celebrities being invited to these parties, but it's rare to get the inside scoop. Diddy's parties are known for their secrecy, and those who attend rarely speak out about what they've seen. But every so often, someone lets a few details slip, and that's where things get really interesting. So why did Steve think Wendy would be interested in going? And what was he hoping to accomplish by inviting her? It's no secret that Steve and Diddy go way back. They've been seen together at countless events, sharing stages and photo ops like they're the best of friends. But according to Wendy, there's more to the relationship than meets the eye. She's hinting that Steve may have been acting as a sort of gatekeeper to these parties, trying to pull people into Diddy's world. And let's face it, Diddy's world is one that's come under a lot of scrutiny lately. With all the accusations flying around about what really goes on at these parties, it's no wonder Wendy wasn't interested. She knows that getting mixed up in that scene could have serious consequences, and she's made it clear she has no intention of being anyone's pawn.
Okay, this is what I mean when I say people wake up every day and just volunteer lies. Diddy, how are we supposed to believe anything that comes out of your mouth? And furthermore, why should we not believe the rumors of things going in your mouth when you out here volunteering bold-faced lies? You would still be lying to us right now if it was no video. You didn't even apologize to Cassie in the video.
Wendy's history with Steve isn't exactly a fairy tale either. Over the years, the two have traded barbs both on and off the air. Wendy's never been shy about calling out Steve for his questionable choices, and Steve hasn't held back either. It's been a back and forth game of he said, she said, but now it seems like Wendy is ready to take things to a whole new level. She's not just calling out Steve for his public persona. She's diving into the darkest corners of his private life and exposing secrets that he'd probably rather keep hidden. This latest claim about him trying to bring her to Diddy's parties is just one piece of a much larger puzzle, one that Wendy seems determined to solve.
And she was practically burned at the stake for talking about such. And now it's all come full circle.
But what does Wendy really know about Diddy's parties? And why is she so convinced that Steve is somehow worse than Diddy? Well, for starters, Wendy has been on the receiving end of some pretty intense scrutiny herself. She knows what it's like to be in a spotlight, to have people digging into your past and questioning your every move. That's why her decision to speak out now is so significant. She's not just throwing out accusations. She's taking a stand against a culture that she says has been allowed to thrive for far too long. By refusing to go to these parties, Wendy is making a statement not just about herself, but about the industry as a whole. She's saying that enough is enough, and she's not going to let anyone bully her into silence.
So why does it all come to a head now? Why now? Why?
Because he's the acceptable monster at this time, like R. Kelly was the last time I sat on this couch.
So who's next?
Y'all don't see the lineup?
Of course, Wendy's decision to refuse Steve's invitation raises some big questions. Why would he want her there in the first place? And what was he hoping to accomplish by bringing her into that world? According to Wendy, it's all about control. She claims that Steve wanted to bring her to Diddy's parties as a way of pulling her into his circle, to make her feel like she owed him something. But Wendy isn't one to be controlled. She's made it clear that she's not going to be anyone's puppet, and she's not afraid to call out those who try to manipulate her. By refusing to go, Wendy is standing her ground and refusing to be drawn into a world that she finds deeply troubling.
When she put out those pictures of the dude pulling his pants down, and it looked like some gay act that was going on, he got on the phone.
As for Diddy's role in all of this, Wendy has plenty to say. She's hinted that her issues with Diddy go back years, and this isn't the first time she's spoken out about him. She's accused him of some pretty shady behavior, and she's not backing down now. According to Wendy, Diddy's parties are just the tip of the iceberg. She claims that there's a whole underworld of Hollywood that revolves around these gatherings, and that Diddy is right at the center of it. Wendy's refusal to attend these parties is a powerful statement, one that suggests she knows a lot more than she's letting on.
It's just crazy. Just read.
But Wendy's not just throwing out accusations for the sake of it. She's got a long history of speaking her mind, even when it gets her into trouble. She's taken on some of the biggest names in the business, and she's never backed down. Whether it's Steve, Diddy, or anyone else, Wendy has proven time and again that she's not afraid to speak out, no matter the consequences. She's built a career on telling it like it is, and this latest revelation is no different. By sharing her story, Wendy is shedding light on a side of Hollywood that most people never see, a world of power and influence that operates in the shadows. So where does this leave us? Wendy's claims about Steve and Diddy are explosive, to say the least. She's not just accusing them of bad behavior. She's saying that they're part of a much larger problem, one that's been allowed to fester for too long. By refusing to go to Diddy's parties, Wendy is making a stand, not just for herself, but for anyone who's ever felt pressured to conform to Hollywood's twisted norms. She's saying that it's time for a change, and she's not going to be silenced.
Don't think he don't know. You pay those lawyers to know. Those lawyers know what he's going to beat, and those lawyers know what he ain't going to beat.
And this is where things start to get really interesting. As Wendy continues to speak out, more and more people are starting to take notice. She's not just telling her story, she's inspiring others to come forward with their own. Wendy's bravery is shining a light on a world that many would prefer to keep hidden, and she's showing that it's possible to stand up to those who would try to keep you down. With her latest revelations about Steve and Diddy, Wendy is proving once again that she's a force to be reckoned with, and she's not going anywhere.
I think industry talk, there's a lot of people who have worked for him. There's been stories around, which is, not necessarily unusual.
Now that we've looked at Wendy Williams' refusal to attend Diddy's notorious gatherings, it's time to dig deeper into Diddy's ongoing legal troubles and the monumental allegations piling up against him. Just recently, the rapper, producer, and entertainment mogul found himself at the center of a federal investigation. Yes, this is big. We're talking about serious, life-changing accusations that could shake his empire to its core.
That this is the end of the Diddy story as we know it.
It all began to unravel with a series of lawsuits, but things really took a turn when federal authorities got involved. In March of this year, Diddy's homes in both Los Angeles and Miami were raided. Reports say that these raids were connected to investigations into shocking activities that he and his associates allegedly facilitated. And it's not just about wild parties or excessive lifestyles anymore. This is about crossing lines that no one ever thought possible. According to sources, Diddy has been accused of orchestrating a network that goes way beyond anything we've heard before, using his power and influence in ways that seem to defy the law.
And in this lawsuit, he claims that essentially P. Diddy was the Epstein of the rap industry.
But what exactly has Diddy been accused of? For starters, he's been charged with a range of offenses, including claims that he engaged in and facilitated illicit activities at these so-called parties. People close to the investigation suggest that these gatherings were more than just celebrations. They were allegedly stages for actions that could only be described as disturbing and exploitative. The authorities claim that Diddy didn't just participate. He masterminded the whole thing using his inner circle to ensure that these activities remained hidden from the public eye.
Stand-up comedian, entertainer, television host, family man. But most importantly, I happen to be a man of faith.
And it seems Diddy's troubles don't end there. Just last month, an indictment was unsealed that painted a pretty grim picture of what authorities believe went down at these gatherings. The charges are vast and chilling, involving actions that spanned over decades, with accusations reaching back to the early 2000s. A wave of lawsuits has followed, and it seems that more people are stepping forward to share their stories. In one case, it's claimed that he manipulated situations to coerce people into things they never agreed to. To make matters worse, some of these allegations involve some seriously high-profile figures with names that would shock even the most seasoned Hollywood insider. While Diddy's legal team has insisted on his innocence, the list of claims against him is long, and it's growing by the day. His lawyer, Mark Agnifilo, has publicly stated that Diddy is an innocent man with nothing to hide. According to Agnifilo, these accusations are merely part of a smear campaign orchestrated by people looking to take down a powerful figure in the music industry. But despite these claims, the legal pressure is mounting, and it's becoming increasingly clear that Diddy will have a hard time shaking this off.
He said, let me tell you this. When I get back to New York City, if she's on the radio station, he's talking to a radio executive.
One particularly disturbing case came to light when former model Cassie Ventura filed a lawsuit against him in late 2023. In her statement, Cassie alleged that her time with Diddy was marked by years of manipulation and coercion. She painted a picture of a controlling man who leveraged his influence over her in ways that were not just unkind, but potentially illegal. According to Cassie, their relationship was far from consensual. And though Diddy settled the lawsuit within days, his legal team made it clear that this wasn't an admission of guilt. They were quick to point out that the settlement was simply a means of closing a chapter in a long and painful saga. Of course, Cassie's allegations are just one piece of this twisted puzzle. In the wake of her lawsuit, others have come forward, each with their own stories to tell. Some of these accounts have been truly harrowing, detailing experiences that allegedly took place at Diddy's infamous gatherings. It's said that these events were more than just a good time. They were opportunities for Diddy to manipulate those around him, exploiting their vulnerabilities for his own gain. And while Diddy's team has denied every one of these accusations, the sheer volume of claims has raised eyebrows across the board.
So I don't give them no energy. I give haters no energy. Steve ain't this, he think he this. You don't even know me.
One figure who's been particularly vocal about Diddy's behavior is attorney Tony Busby. At a press conference held earlier this month, Busby announced that he was representing over 100 people who have come forward with allegations against the music mogul. According to Busby, these accusations span more than 2 decades, with claims that Diddy used his power to control and intimidate others. Busby didn't pull any punches in his statement, saying that he and his team have gathered a mountain of evidence to support their case. He hinted that they had everything from text messages to video recordings, suggesting that Diddy's alleged actions have been meticulously documented over the years.
All right, I gotta take some time to address this here.
It's a lot to take in, and it's clear that these accusations are only the beginning. Busby has indicated that he plans to file a series of lawsuits in multiple states, suggesting that this saga is far from over. And while Diddy's team continues to insist on his innocence, the evidence is mounting, and it's becoming increasingly difficult to ignore the claims being made against him. As the legal battles unfold, Diddy is facing the fight of his life, and it's anyone's guess how this will play out. In the midst of all this, Diddy's public persona has taken a significant hit. He's always been known as a larger-than-life character, someone who thrived on the attention and the drama. But now, with these allegations hanging over his head, his reputation has taken a nosedive. While some of his fans have stuck by him, many others are starting to question everything they thought they knew about the music mogul. His social media presence has become a battleground, with supporters and detractors alike voicing their opinions. And as the case continues to unfold, it's clear that the public perception of Diddy will never be the same.
All lies will be exposed. That's all. And anyone who takes that the wrong way, know why they take it the wrong way.
It's also worth noting that Diddy has a long history of dodging controversy. Over the years, he's been involved in countless scandals, from nightclub altercations to high-profile feuds. But somehow, he's always managed to come out on top, reinventing himself time and time again. Whether it was as Puff Daddy, P. Diddy, or simply Diddy, he's been a master of rebranding, always finding a way to keep himself in the spotlight. But this time feels different. The allegations against him are far more serious, and it's unclear whether his usual tactics will be enough to save him. For now, Diddy's legal team is working overtime to defend him, challenging the allegations at every turn. They've dismissed the claims as baseless, accusing the accusers of being motivated by money and a desire for fame. But as the lawsuits pile up, it's becoming harder and harder to ignore the stories being told. The evidence against him seems to be growing by the day, and it's clear that this case isn't going away anytime soon. Whether or not Diddy is guilty of the accusations remains to be seen, but one thing is certain, his life will never be the same. In the midst of all this chaos, Wendy Williams' decision to speak out takes on new significance. By refusing to attend Diddy's parties, Wendy has positioned herself as a voice of reason in a world that often seems to have lost its way. She's shown that she's willing to stand up to powerful men, even when it means putting herself at risk. And as more and more people come forward with their own stories, Wendy's decision to distance herself from Diddy seems more and more like the right call.
Is there any possibility that he walks away clean from this, that everything is dropped and he faces no charges or any prison time?
Not impossible. I mean, anything is possible, but I don't see that happening. I see him kind of going the path of R. Kelly, where again, for so many decades, he was able to act with impunity and just, with harming so many, young women.
And so, as this saga continues to unfold, one can't help but wonder what else will come to light. Will more people step forward with their own stories? Will Diddy be able to defend himself against the avalanche of accusations? Only time will tell. But for now, one thing is clear. This is far from over, and the world will be watching to see what happens next. So, after hearing all these jaw-dropping revelations, what do you think? Do you believe Wendy's claims about Steve Harvey? Or is this just another chapter in Hollywood's endless drama? And with Diddy now facing his own mountain of allegations, how much more is there to this story that we still don't know? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. We want to hear what you think about all of this. See you in the next video.